Burton and I'm an aeromodeller and an engineer. Join me on a fascinating journey where I show you some of the techniques used in scale aeromodelling. So as you can see, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create the fairing that goes between the fin and the fuselage. It's quite a pronounced fairing, and I really couldn't think of a way of doing this, but this idea was, I first saw this on Richard Krapp's RCSB thread. RCSB is Radio Control Scale Builder, and it's a website that Mike Chilson runs, and if you're into scale modelling you'll already know about this website. rcsb.com or rcscalebuilder.com. It's run by Mike Chilson, as I say, great modeller, good friend. So what I'm doing is what Richard did was he made these on a much smaller scale, and they were actually fairings for cabane struts on the fuselage of a Stomp biplane that he was doing for F4C for the World Champs. And he used plasticine, or modelling clay, whatever you want to call it, to make the shape, and then he covered them in glass, and then he picked all the plasticine out, and that was how he made his moulds. So, well, it wasn't a mould, it was the actual piece. So you don't use this to make a mould, you use this to actually make the part. And of course, if you want to make more than one, you have to do it again. But that's not really a problem. If it's one-offs you're doing, then this is fine. I suppose you could take it off once you've finished it and actually make a mould from it. So what I'm trying to do is just get the rough shape, and then we'll use some tools to smooth it all out and get it a bit better. What I've done from my 3 views and photographs, I've worked out where the demarcation line is for the fairing, and I'm working to those lines. That's what's guiding me. What I'm doing here is I'm just pressing it down to make it kind of even and to move the lumps along. There's a lump through here, so I'm just moving it further down. Now I only had this one ball of plasticine, and I thought, oh, that's a shame. I thought I had loads, but it's the only ball I've got. So, and I thought, oh, it won't be enough by a long way, but actually it's going a lot further than I thought it would, which is interesting. If we can do one side, that would be good, and then I can dig it all apart, make the one glass part maybe, and then do the other side. Or I just go and buy some more plasticine and we do both sides together, which I kind of like to do, because the fairing goes over the fairing goes over the top of this ridge, this strake that runs down the fuselage. So it would be kind of nice to do it in one piece rather than in 2 halves. We'll try. I think for the sake of going and buying some plasticine or ordering some off eBay, it's worth trying. Now, we're a bit of a problem here in that the plasticine doesn't want to stick to the balsa. I should have probably coated it in masking tape first, because it is actually quite thin where it joins up with that. Anyway, you get the idea. I'll carry on doing this, and you can come back later when we've got closer to the final shape. As you can see, we're getting closer. I've been using a variety of tools. These are stainless steel carving tools, which are quite useful. Found this run quite a nice shape, works really well, and I have been using that to get it close. But now I'm just using my finger to just move the plasticine or modelling clay along, and just grabbing the excess. What I'm trying to do is smooth it and get the thickness the same right the way along. Or the depth, whatever you want to call it, but I'd say the thickness. But I'm also trying to get that wonderful de Havilland sweep through here. You see it moves quite well once you've got your finger nice and warm. The plasticine needs to be warm when you do this. I haven't heated it up, it's just we're at around 25 degrees in the workshop today, or this evening. I'm going to have to lose some of this because we've got too much on at the back. So we'll take that off. A little bit more out of here. And get it to creep down to this line again. It's very thin through here. The problem is the way the sheeting has been done, it brings it right up to the edge of where you actually want the shroud, so it's not quite accurate. The sheeting should have been a little bit lower at that point, but it is what it is, so we've got to try and make the best of it. Scale error modelling is about tricking the eye of the viewer, either confusing them with so much detail that they're swamped, which is a nice way of doing it, as long as it's good detail. Let's see if we can get this to move a little bit. You can see it polishes quite well. What polishes, it smooths out quite well. I'm trying to get it as thin as the tape, the vinyl lining tape on the edges. Because the part I'm making will be over the top of this. So it's going to then have to sit lower. I suppose if I really knew what I was doing, and I was any good at all this sort of game, I would, this part would be the mould, the way we did with the tail cone on the underside. But I'm not good enough to do that, I don't think. I don't think I've got the skill set to do that. Now, with any luck, the fiberglass resin and glass cloth won't stick to the plasticine. I'm counting on it. And there you go, we're more or less done. There's just a bit more polishing to do, which, like all of these things, the final 1% takes 90% of the time. But this side's nearly done. And this has only taken probably an hour. Now, I don't know whether you could use Sculpey putty that goes hard, air dries. I don't know whether that would work. It might be very difficult to remove afterwards if it's dried. Obviously plasticine will stay soft, which is what I want in this case. Anyway, you get the idea. So welcome back to the workshop. It's another day, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and lay up some glass fibre on this one side, see how it works. It's pointless doing both sides if it isn't going to work. And I realised that I can join the two parts across the top along the spine. So it's let's just try it, see how it works, and we'll take it from there. All right. So that's one coat, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and stick to my green tape as best I can, and only apply resin to the green tape. If I go beyond that, I've got a good chance of sticking to the masking tape, and I don't really want to do that. So we'll keep going and add another few layers. I've got 4 layers to put down.
I think the irony is, Lucy, is that Hickey plays the ball in, having made the challenge on Harry here today, Brian and Burma.
We talked about that they don't really miss when they lose big players because they adapt, and they've certainly done that in the second half. Didn't play that well in the first half. I'm sure Spurs expected him to come out with some sort of reaction.
Played forward there by Mikhail Damsgaard. Hickey. Behind. Well, he didn't get behind. Forster there at the moment. He's coming on for Dan Schumer.
We talked about the inconsistency as well, and it's about stringing two halves of football together that are the same high quality, and they just haven't managed to do that.
I find that astonishing that players of this quality have had that problem for so long. It seems eminently solvable when you think about the calibre of player down there, but it's been a recurring theme. It's a curse that struck them again today in the Premier League. 1-0 up and cruising through Harry Kane, chance after chance being created, and now in the blink of an eye, an Burmo double has them behind. Here's Charlotte. Henry. Jensen. And a rousing welcome for Lucas Moura. He's a man who brought my Summarises heart in the semi-final. Jermaine Genius couldn't keep it together when he scored the third goal of his hat-trick to get Tottenham through to a Champions League final. And no doubt there were lots of Tottenham...
Well, there we go. That's 4 layers of the cloth. I've got one more piece, and I'm going to put just a section in the middle here just to bulk it up a little bit. But other than that, we'll just have to let it dry and see how it looks tomorrow. So it's 24 hours later, and this is all nice and dry. We've just got to figure out how the hell that's going to come off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift and tease the edges and see if anything moves, such as this edge here. You can see it's moving. It's coming away. Now there was an area here where actually the resin went onto balsa, which is always a bad sign, because it will grip like Billy-O. It is in fact that area that is really giving me the trouble. There we go. Now, as I expected, all the plasticine has come off in one piece as well. And there's the ridge, the bit that goes over the top of the top of this strake. So all we got to really do is dig all this plasticine out, which I don't think will be too bad. There again, who knows? But we'll scrape it all out and make it nice, I'm sure. Yeah, it's not too bad. Once I've scraped all that out, we'll come back and just trial fit it on the fuselage, see how it looks. See you in a bit. So what I thought I'd try is a little bit of just acetone. You can see I've scraped most of the plasticine out, and that's nearly all gone. So I'm just using cotton bud soaked in acetone. Now what worries me is that the acetone will soften the epoxy, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything, so that's a bonus. It is, however, dissolving the plasticine quite nicely. As you can see. I probably should have made this part after I glassed the fuselage, but I really wanted to see whether or not the shapes were going to work towards the back end, and whether I had to you know, really hack the wood apart to get the fairing to fit. But because the bit that I'm actually sneaking up on here with all of this are the two bulges that are on either side of the rudder at the base, because the bit I've already done, the fairing on top of the tailplane, meets this, and where the two meet is where this bulge is, and I can't quite see how that's going to work, because the area above the tailplane is a different shape to this area here. So I want to make this and see if I can actually get the lump on the tailplane to mate up okay with this. If it does, then terrific. But I still probably won't fit this until after the fuselage is glassed. It could go on before, I suppose. I don't really know, but I think I'll wait till after it's glassed. But you know me, I change my mind every other minute. So you could watch the next video and find this bit's already glued on. But I will make the other side, because this has actually been very easy. And it is a bit rough, but the Chipmunk is a bit rough. The one I'm doing is particularly a little bit rough, but it's been bashed about a bit, it's had a hard life. So I didn't really want these fairings to come out super nice and smooth. I wanted to come out a little bit rough around the edges, because that's how it is on the full size. And not just this Chipmunk, but many of the Chipmunks that are sort of 70 years old have had a hard life. Some of the plasticine was actually on the other side, that's why I couldn't seem to be getting rid of it. Anyway, I just wanted to get the worst of it out. So as you can see, there's our part. It's quite flimsy, but it doesn't need to be particularly strong. Once the top is glued on and the bottom is glued on, then the only unsupported bit is the area where the damage can happen. And the idea is that this is light, and it really is quite flimsy, but it's holding its shape. It'll be fine. So there we go. I'll do the other side, but I think you get the idea now, don't you? So and as I'm not going to attach it until later on, until the fuselage is glassed, I'm probably going to call this video a wrap and show that moulding with plasticine and then glassing over the top does actually work, and you don't need a release agent or anything funny like that. It does work. It's a very quick, very simple way of doing this. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, click like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.